Okay. This is the serious part of the lecture. Let's go ahead and start Visual Studio. And there it is, 2010. So the first thing we want to do is write a hello program. And then let's try to commit it into the repository. So we'll just, here we go. New project. And I want you to follow a naming convention in the class. And your first project should be P1_1. So that's problem 1 from chapter 1. And let's see, I don't want to put it, you could put this anywhere, that doesn't matter, but I'm going to put it where I want it, which is on my desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out here. And I'll create a, yeah, this is good, just my desktop. And now, this here, this name, this is your project name. And a solution is a container of projects. So what I recommend is that you have one solution for the whole class, and you have all of the projects that go in it. So for each problem in the textbook that you solve, you have a Visual Studio project. So let's give this solution, I'm going to call the solution name CSE 201. Oh, look at this down here, add to Subversion. So I installed a Subversion plugin before, and that means that that Subversion is integrated in with Visual Studio. So this is very convenient to select that right there. Oh, and this is the other thing you have to pay attention to. What type of project do you want to create? Well, there's one type of project. We're only going to create these console applications. Is that right? Or do we create? No. Sometimes we will create one of these applications. For the graphics, when we solve graphics problems, we're going to create a regular Win32 project. But the first problem is to create a console application. So let's go ahead and do that. So everyone with me here? Any questions about the screen? It's kind of complicated, a lot of stuff there. It takes a while to learn this this system. Okay. I'm not going to click finish. And I like an empty project. It's a console application. Do you know the difference between this one and this one? This one here is, the console means it runs inside a console window. So you would do like this command prompt. You would run the program here. See? So you would be at the command prompt, and you would launch the program like you know, P1_1, you know, .exe. It would look something like that. Of course, it doesn't exist. That's a console application. Works through the operating system's console. This is the same on Macintosh. It's the same on Linux. This is called a text. This is a character interface. That's a console application. But a Windows application, that means, oh, when we run the program will look like this. It'll be in a window. It'll be in a graphical window. It'll look like this, like this browser. This is this is an application window. The browser. This browser window. See, this is called the title bar, and these are tabs. This is a minimize icon. This is a restore. This is what is it? Exit or close. And every window, every application window, when an application runs, it submits a request to the operating system and says, hey, I want to run in window mode. Give me a window. And it's not quite enough. The operating system says, well, what kind of a window do you want? Do you want a window that's frozen on the screen, that's fixed in size, or do you want the window to be able to be resized? Do you want a title in the window? There's some other parameters about what type of window. Is it a modal window, which is one of those windows that pop up and says, you know, your disk drive is in danger of crashing, you know, click OK or something like that. That's called a modal window. And so when you ask the operating, in your code, you're going to say, operating system, give me a window, and give it, and these are the characteristics I want with that window. So there's two basic kinds of applications. And you need to know when you go to solve the problem that's in the book that you need to solve in this quarter, you need to know in advance, is it a console application or is it a windowed application? So the first problem is a console application. Oh, what about these other settings here? This is to create a DLL, which is a library, and a static library that's also a library. And I'm not going to go into the details there. There's two different kinds of libraries. And here it is, an empty project. Let's go ahead and hit finish. And now it brings up, because I clicked that checkbox to add the solution to Subversion, I get this extra window that you wouldn't normally get. And so I need to list the URL. Where's the repository URL? Yeah.
Where'd you get the add-on for Subversion?
The add-on for Subversion, let me show you that. It's called Svn. Take a look at 201 notes. Here is Windows notes. This is the compiler. And here's the section on Subversion. And it is Svn. Right there. And here you would download and then install. And when you install it, you should have Visual Studio. Visual Studio should be closed, should not be running. So go ahead and install that. And I just started using this, by the way. And it seems to work fine. I haven't used it very much. Myself and my students have traditionally used this Tortoise Svn, which integrates itself in with Windows Explorer. And I have that running as well. But so this gives you a general Subversion client that you could use just generally to download stuff. Doesn't have to be Visual Studio projects. This client here only allows you to download or check out projects from a repository when you're inside of Visual Studio. So this one is a little bit more general purpose. And I want to add that, let me go back to that page. Something you need to pay attention to when you install this. I thought I had a note about that. It's tricky. Let me show you what you need to do there. But first, before we do that, hi, John. Okay, two things I want to remember. One is how to configure Svn, and the other one is where to find the repository location. Look inside Lab 1. You'll see it's right there. That's your repository location. Now, Chan has emailed everybody their Subversion repository username and your Subversion repository password. So check your Coyote email for that. I'm going to paste that right in there. And of course, you'll have to replace this. And looks good. This is my local folder. This just popped in like that. I'm going to hit OK. Whoops. Oh, that's project name. That's okay. That's fine. Oh, please select a location. So I have to select that location. That's where we want to put it. And I'm not going to do this. Log method. This is a note. You know, Subversion wants a note, and I'll say, you know, initial checkout or something like that. Okay. I'm going to get rid of these folders. I don't like to use these. I'm going to delete those. Those are not real folders. They're called virtual folders. They're just ways of organizing your files in your project. If you go into the file system, you won't see these folders. You know, everything is either in one folder or spread out into other folders. Things are running very slowly here. I think I deleted that, right? Okay. Let's let that go. I'm going to close this. What is going on? Is this crashing? Yeah.
I started this yesterday and saved it, but now when I open it, it doesn't look quite the same as what I had before. And it doesn't have the P11 there, and doesn't project said 0 projects. I was just wondering, am I opening the wrong folder or something?
Yeah, let's start that over again. Let's close that window and start that over again. And I'm going to show you what I think you did. But you know what? This is crashing on me here. What happened? Oh. It didn't crash. It just didn't like what I asked it to do. Maybe I can't delete this. Maybe that one's not deletable. Ah, can't delete it. That must be it. Alright, and I'm going to hold on there. I'm going to show you that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new item. And there's different types of items. It's a code item, and it's a CPP file. So that looks good, and I'm going to give it a name. You'll notice it gives the folder location down here. So it's main.cpp. We call it main because it contains a function called main. And all programs must have a function called main because that is the entry point into your program. So when you build your program, it needs an entry point. The operating system is going to load and run your program. So it's got to know where to call into, which function to start executing. So it's main. So we're going to call the file that contains the main function main.cpp. There it is. And it's going to be like include IOStream, like that, okay? And then we'll finish that later, the hello program. In fact, let's go ahead and get the hello program. I'm going to grab the hello program. I think I had it under notes, right? Here's the hello program. Let's grab this and paste that right in there. There we go. I'm going to close that. And you see the asterisk here, so it hasn't been saved. That's a common convention. I see that in a lot of applications. I'm going to save that. This is save that file. This is save all. Save all, I think it saves the project file as well. So save all could be a little safer. And I want to show you now, and I'm going to get to where you are. You did? Okay. Well, I'm going to go back and show everyone. Did you double click the solution file, the SLN file? Is that how you did it? Okay. Sorry I kept that a secret from you. So let's go back and I'm going to go back to lab 1 here. Let's grab this the Subversion folder. You can view your source code on the web in a browser. So you just type it in like that. All right, so the certificate, I don't have, I didn't sign. It's an encrypted connection, but the I didn't sign the website's certificate with a certificate that I bought from VeriSign or one of the certificate authorities that sell these things. Okay, that's another topic. I don't want to get into that. Getting off on a tangent. So let's try. Your username will be the same as. I'm not sure that I have this username in there, but your username will be the same as your repository folder name. And your password is something that was sent to you. Let's see if that's in there. Oh, it's not in there. There it is. This is the project when we first created the solution. Well, the first thing we did in Visual Studio is we created a project. But when we created a project, it says, "Oh, okay, you want a project, but do you want a solution to put the project inside of?" And we said, "Yes." We clicked that checkbox. So it wanted to know the name of the solution, which is the container of the projects, and here it is. This is what we entered in. So inside here, we have our projects, but it has no projects. It only has a solution in there. Let's go ahead and save. I'm going to go all the way to the top here. Although we didn't have to, probably could start here. Well, I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to right click and Subversion commit or save. Does it have anything like that in here? I don't even see that. Is there like a save in there? Subversion. Maybe I'll go down to here. Wait a minute. Let's look at this. Subversion. Oh, see, we didn't see it on the web, so I must probably need to add it. Okay, I have to add this. Let's go ahead and add that. And it says, oh, it's showing me a list of files that it's going to upload to the server. We created main.cpp, but it's not the only file that's needed. This file here is called a project file, and it contains information that the system needs to build the code. And this is another separate file. This is due with Visual Studio 2010, by the way. So in 2008, this information on filters is inside of here. And I believe that the filter information is the thing that I was deleting here. So that should, but we can take a look at that. So add these items. Yes, I'm going to click OK, add the items. But adding the items, by the way, that's a local setting. We're telling Subversion, our Subversion client, that we want those to be in the repository, but they're not in the repository yet. Let's go back. See, if I refresh, it's not there. So adding is not good enough. What I need to do is commit project changes. But let me wait a minute. If I go up to the solution, and I can commit changes from there as well, no, I cannot. I cannot commit changes from that level. So I have to commit changes at the project level. So commit project changes. Now it's showing me what it's going to do. It's going to commit these 3 files that are added, and it's going to commit this folder. That's the folder that contains those files. And there's some things down here that we're going to ignore. It's showing us the process here. By the way, the commit will either succeed in whole or it will fail entirely. You will never get partial commit. You'll never get half a file. You'll never get one file and not the others. Either the entire commit succeeds or the entire commit fails. That's one of the characteristics of a version control system. So if you get an error message, you know that nothing has been uploaded. Now I'm going to refresh. There it is. Now we have the project. These are the meta files that describe the project itself. Here's the code. We pasted it in there. And I just want to demonstrate, actually this is my first time looking at this file because, like I said, I'm just using this. Yeah, this is this filters file. So I don't want to get into that. But as you can see, these files are readable. They're not binary files. They're character-based files. You can open them up in an application that can display character data to the user, and which in a browser is one such application. Notepad is another. So this is called XML, right? So you can see these are called XML tags, and more these days configuration data is stored in XML format. So you see this a lot these days. That's relatively new, by the way. So there it is. Let's see if we can run this thing. So I'm going to build it. So what I'll do, I can either build a solution or I can build a project. Building the solution builds everything in the project. Building this, it just builds the project. Question?
I was just curious, like, why do we have to go through all the trouble of uploading it to this Subversion, and why don't we just use like Blackboard that
We could do it on Blackboard, but there's I have a selfish reason and an unselfish reason. The selfish reason is I can quickly check out your project and build it, run it. And if I'm chatting with you, or if Chan is chatting with you, we can quickly access your work in an environment that we can work in. And we can quickly say, oh, I can set a breakpoint. I can walk through your code. I can quickly respond to it. So it gives me that flexibility and that quickness. I can respond very quickly. And number two, this is an awesome tool that everybody uses. I mean, not Subversion, although a lot of people use Subversion. They'll use Subversion or something like this. It's very useful to learn this procedure and to learn this way of working. And you'll see, hopefully it'll all become more clear to you as we go along. It's tough to get started. You have to learn something new. And it's tough to configure. It's tough to set up. It takes a lot of time to figure out how to do the system administration and set this stuff up. But this is what some of you are going to end up doing in the future. So this is useful to you. Does that answer the question? Okay. Maybe I took too long to answer that. All right, so I'm going to build the project. And I'm reading that, I'm making sure that there's no errors, and it says 1 succeeded. That's the number of projects. 1 project succeeded, 0 failed, 0 projects are up to, and so on. So that's done, and I'm running at a very low resolution. That's why things don't fit, but I can capture the video that way more easily. Also, it's easier to read the screen. Is the lighting okay? Are people straining to look at that? Are we okay with the lighting? Okay. Now that we built it, and let me show you, here's the desktop, and where is the, there it is, CS201, that's our solution folder. This is what's getting created here. This here is the solution file. This defines the solution, and this is the project file. And if you go in there, here's the main, and it has a folder called debug, and inside here there should be an executable. Well, maybe it's not there. Maybe the executable is placed in here. The debug folder for the solution. There it is. There's the executable. We can run that executable from here. And so I'm gonna right click on here, and I'm gonna do debug. Start new instance, because what we did was we built we built an executable that was designed to work well with a debugger. And now we're going to run the executable within this debugger context. This is what it's got extra hooks in there, and this in the machine code that lets us like pause the program as it's running. And I'll talk about that later if there's an interest in that. But let's go ahead and start that. It pops open a console window. Remember, it's a console application. We said we wanted a console application. We didn't want a Windows application. And so it pops open a console application, prints our high, and now it's waiting. See, it's waiting for this cn get to return. It called into execution, passed into that function get. So we called get cn.get. We called the get function on the cn object. Execution went into it and never came out. And it's waiting. It's blocking. They say blocking. It's blocking on user input. And it's waiting for me to press enter. I'm going to hit enter, and then it terminates. That's the reason, you know, in the Linux lab, we don't really need that cn.get because you're already working inside a terminal window. But here we're not working inside a terminal window. So I put that in there so that the terminal window wouldn't disappear right away. Let me show you what happens if we comment that out. If I comment that out, and I'm going to build this again, build solution, like F7, I'm just going to press F7 to build. And now to run, start new instance, I think F5 is going to run this. I'm going to press F5. You see that? It just flipped right through there. It didn't pause on me. Because it opened a console window, printed high, and the program terminated, so it closed the console window. That's why we didn't see anything. So that's why I put in this F7 to build, F5 to run. I put in that little cn get just to pause. There's another way to do it. F7, build, F5, run. There's another way to do it. I could put a breakpoint here. Look. I'm going to set a breakpoint here. I just clicked right there. Now I press F5 to run. Oh, look, it pauses. Do you see that mark there? So I'm running the debugger, and you'll see it actually didn't print anything yet because we didn't execute that line yet. We paused there. So we can move forward. If I press F10, it's a stepping operation. I could step one command into the execution of the program. And I'll just show that to you here. You can step into, which means go into the function call, or you can step over. And what we're going to do is step over. It means run one line, and then the hotkey for that is F10. So you're going to hit F10 a lot, basically. And I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and do that. I won't hit F10. I'll just select that. Do you see that the arrow, the yellow arrow, jumped to the terminating bracket? And if I go to the console window, there's the high, because we ran this one line, this one statement. It's called a statement. We executed that statement, and the results of that statement are now visible. And we have stepped over. We didn't branch into the statement. We stepped over the statement. Now we're waiting at the very next statement. So what do we do at the next statement? We could keep hitting F10 here to go forward. And well, we're going somewhere. I don't know where, right? We went into the system. So we're done, I think. Are we finished? Stop debugging. It's still running. You can always hit F5 to run and then hit F5 to continue, and that'll terminate normally. That's another way to do it. So I could have left this out of my notes, and we could have just talked about setting breakpoints, but this is how I did it. Anyway, let's go ahead and solve the lab exercise. And the lab exercise is to do hello, my name is Hal, and what would you like me to do? Am I right? What would you like me to do? And then we're going to, read a line. All right, so what was it? Was it get line? I can't remember now. Is it get line? Huh? Oh, you have to declare a string. Okay, so that's going to be, and they call it, what's that? Line, that's you. What did they call it in the book? The variable. They call it what? User input. This is a variable. We're declaring a variable called user input, and we'll talk about this. You know, we're covering a lot very fast, right? You know, Subversion and all that, and Visual Studio. There's a lot to take in here. Keep in mind, if you don't get stressed out here, we're going to go over this many, many times, and you will know how to do this. You're not being tested on Visual Studio. You're not being tested on Subversion. Those are just tools, and we're going to use those. But you are going to be tested on knowing about, you know, what these lines mean in here. And we'll spend a lot of time talking about these very carefully and completely as we go along. But right in the very beginning, it can be a little overwhelming. Because in a sense, you're getting everything all at once. And then once you kind of digest this snapshot of everything, there's the amount of learning, additional learning that you do through the rest of the class is very incremental and gradual, I think. All right, so I don't even remember. Does getLine look like this? Does it look like this? Anybody have a book? What does getLine look like? John, did I do that right? It's got a red mark on there.
Maybe include the string.
I need the. Do I need to include the string?
Yeah.
This is called the header. We need to include the string header. So we're telling the compiler, hey, you know, I'm going to use functions in here, identifiers like this. I'm going to use those things in my code, and but there's so many things that I could use. There's so many functions that I could invoke that the compiler says, you know, I'm not going to look everywhere for your stuff. You just tell me where to look. And so we want them to look in this. Oh, this should be string. I want you to look inside this string header to find the name of this. This is defined in this. That's actually a file. Of course, that file includes other files, which includes other files. Anyway, it's a thing that's defined in there. Looks good. You know, let's save that, and I'm going to try to build. I can press F7 to build. Oh, it worked. So far, we haven't had a real compilation error here. Oh, wait, we're not done yet. We need to say, sorry, I can't do that, right? Sorry, I can't do that. All right, F7 to build. What would you like me to do? Nothing. Sorry, I can't do that. Okay, problem P11 is done. We're going to commit that. Is there a commit in here? Oh, there it is. Commit project changes. As you see here, the only change that's been made to the files, main.cpp, the other files, the solution file, the project file, that filter file, contents of those files have not changed. There's no reason to write those into the repository. Oh, let's verify that things have been changed. This is the website. Let's go ahead and click main.cpp. There it is. It's been written out to the server. You can see it. Looks a little different because of the. It looks like it's putting in the tabs here. I think what we could do is take out tabs. Let's figure out how do we take out tabs. See, it's using. Let's look here. I'm going to guess in front of this line and this line are tabs. See that? And I'm going to guess in front of the other lines that there aren't tabs. Oh, I'm right. How do I know? Why did I know that there were tabs in front of these two lines? Any detectives in here? How did I know that these two lines here had tabs and the others didn't? Huh? Yeah, my PhD. That's why I know how to detect tabs. Yeah, I get a lot of money to know this. Okay, so the thing is this: the tabs are, it's called a white space. White space is a character that is not visible, but has some effect. A space is white space. A tab is white space. An end-of-line character is white space. A character turn is white space, and so on. Okay, those are called white space. Now, a tab is white space, and what do you do when the program reads through the character data and finds a tab? It's going to say, "Oh, there's a tab there. That means I'm going to have to tab out. I'm going to replace the tab. When I render the file to the user, I'm going to replace the tab with so many spaces." But that's application dependent. How many spaces to use? Do you want to use 3 spaces, 4 spaces, 8 spaces? So that's subject to the application's interpretation of what a tab should mean. So the browser says, "Oh, that's a tab. I'm going to make 8 spaces." But in Visual Studio, it's interpreting that tab as 4 spaces. So there's a what do they call that? A impedance, right? There's a mismatch between that. So what I like to do is to turn off tabs altogether. Let's see how we can do that. Does anyone know how to do that? Let's see, maybe under Options, or is it under Window? Test. I'm going to look at Options. And let's try to figure it out. How can we tell the system not to use tabs? Maybe text editor. This is general. Oh, C++. Anything about tabs in there? Enable virtual space. What does that mean? Tabs. Tab size 4. There it is. Insert spaces. I'm going to turn off. So I want spaces. I don't want tabs. Now that means this. I'm going to just. There's already tabs in there. So what I'll do, watch this. I'm going to hit tab to tab it over. I'm going to hit tab to tab it over. But look. Oh, even though I hit tab, it inserted spaces. Let's go ahead and commit that. There it is, lined up. Okay, now when I see your work, I'm going to say, "Wow, that's nice code." And the other way, it's like, "Ah, that student's not paying attention to formatting," and even though you were, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and do. No, actually, I want to answer your question now, and I'm going to close Visual Studio for a second here, and let's suppose we took a break. Now we're going to finish the lab. We're going to come back and do the rest of the lab. So we're going to open this up. How do we open up the project? Well, there's several ways of doing it. One way is to go into Visual Studio here. The way I usually do it is to go. I locate the solution file here, and I double-click this, and that loads the solution. And we're ready to go. We'll close that. Now, if I had gone into here, into the project, and said, "Oh yeah, that's the file I want to work on. I got to finish that file." If I double-click on that, it's going to launch Visual Studio. But look at this; it doesn't show me the project. It's because we just said, "Hey, we want to work on that one file." We don't want to work on the project. Otherwise, we would have opened the project file. We just want to work on one file. So that's confusing. That's what you did, right? Okay. So we want to go in through the. I think actually, if I launch this, it may launch the solution. Not sure. Let's see. Let's see. Go ahead and experiment. It does. It shows it inside a solution. That's another way of getting in there. Let's go ahead and create a new solution. What is this here? What is that? Oh, we stepped into this. You know, when we were debugging, we stepped into this. This is a library. This is source code for a library. We stepped into that when we returned from main. So I'm just going to close that. Okay, we don't need that. And let's go ahead and create a new project. And it's a Win32 project, but it's a console project. This is P1_2. Did I get everything right? I did, I think. Next, I want it empty. And I'm going to kill these. And let's go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to add a new item. And I'm going to add main.cpp, right? Before I do this, I want to try something else. What happens, because you might think of this, let's make a copy of what we have, right? And let's paste a copy. Where is paste? Is there a paste? If I go up here and I copy this, and now I want to paste it in here, is there a paste? There it is. I put it right in there. Now, my question is, did it paste a link to the original file, or did it make a real copy of the file? Do you understand the question? In other words, so these two things, this and this, these two symbols that are shown to me in the interface, do they represent one and the same file, just visible through different points in the tree? Or are they, when I did the copy operation, did it make a real copy? It's a similar, like, you know, when you create an icon, what do you call that? A shortcut. Yeah, a shortcut. It's like a shortcut. Is this like a shortcut? And this is the first time I'm using really this 2010. I've never done anything more than a hello program in this Visual Studio 2010. So I don't know what its behavior is going to be, but I'm guessing that it made a shortcut. Now, if you're working in C# on 2008, it makes a real copy. But when you're in C++, it tends to make shortcuts. So just a note there. So let's see what happens. If I open this up, oh, look at that! I double click this, it just gives me one window. See? It's the same thing. So that copy operation did not work. You see what's going on there? If I do sorry, what if I change this and, you know, just said something like okay, right? I changed it in here, right? And if I build, and I run this, there it is, debug, start new instance. There's the OK, right? But what happens if I go up here and run this one? Oh, see that? It's a shortcut. So be careful. There must be a way to do this. Let's see, I'll take this out. You know what? If you look at the properties, anyway, I don't want, we're going to get lost here. We're going to get lost. So let me take that out. Remove. Exclude from project. I don't want to delete it, right? So remove doesn't, it says delete here. Does it delete the other one? Oh, it's still there. Okay. I wonder if I copy this, is there a way to paste it? If I do paste special, do they have a paste special? No, they don't. So this doesn't work. I don't know how to get around this. Maybe someone could show me how to do this. You know?
I'm not
Add a what file?
Add an assistant file.
An assistant file?
Yeah. Right click on P1, 2, and add. Right click on that. So add. I think it's upload.
My system is crawling. Wait a minute. What the heck? Let me go back in here. Oh, so add.
That's P1, 1.
All right. All right, hold on there.
Add to P1, 2.
Add. Oh, existing item?
Yeah. That may give you the option to duplicate a file
Yeah, maybe.
for some kind of project.
Yeah, let's try it. I don't see it. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. Oh.
No. It only works for some kind of project, not
Yeah.
all projects.
Yeah, let's, it's just something to be wary of. Now, it's the same thing, right? So we get the same problem. So let's go ahead and we're running out of time. I want to make sure we get done this. And how do I delete this? Remove. Okay. Let's go ahead and create that file. Well, there's one way to do it. I'll show you that. Here's a quick way to do it. I'll copy it. I'm outside of Visual Studio. And I go into P12. And I paste it in there. This is one way to do it. I mean, it's easy just to create a new file and paste it in there. And now I add existing item. I'm in P11. I don't want to be in there. I want to be in P12. So I copied it manually outside of Visual Studio, and I'm going to add it back in again. So that is, in fact, a different file. Watch. I double-click that. I open this. All right? Now watch this. Double-click that. I got my other file now. That's what we want. All right, so now this is problem 2. What does problem 2 do? Let's skip that. You got to do problem 2. Running out of time here, so I'm going to say, whatever it does, it does something. Okay, so you're gonna follow the book, and that's pretty straightforward. That's the easy part. The hard part is getting the environment figured out. So let's go ahead. I'm going to. What do you think I need to do next here? I need to add the project to Subversion. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add it. Add P12. And now I'm going to commit the project changes. There it is. And then I go out to here. And now I see there's P12. And there is, in fact, our new code. So it's there. It's been committed. Now we're done. We finished Lab 1. So what do you do next? You have to log into Blackboard. And you go to Lab Reports, and you click on L1, and I created it. It's an exam, actually. This is, that's how I created it. It's an exam. So what we're going to do is, did you complete P11 and commit it into the repository? Does the program compile and run correctly? And I said yes. The problem is complete. And then the next one, P12. Did you complete P12 and commit it into the repository? Does the program? The program is committed. It builds, but it is not a complete solution. So that's a partial credit on that one, right? Do you have any recommendations to improve this lab? Add a video for this. to the website. I mean, you don't have to say anything, right? Just if you want to send me a message at this point, you can do that there. And save and submit. So I have just submitted, it says a test, right? So I had to create it as a test. So it created that as your lab report submission, and then I will grade it, or Chan will grade it, or we will grade it together. So one of the two of us are going to be involved there. And the labs, once again, you should get 100% on these labs, because we're going to work with you and just show you what to do on the labs. But when it comes to the assignments, that's going to be more challenging. But the assignments essentially resemble the labs. And you do the same thing. You submit an assignment report. Any questions? That's it then. We'll see those who go to lab. We'll see you in lab today.